Hello, this is Deadpool Negative. Again, I apologize for being gone so long. My previous video, I explained somewhat of where I've been, but I still don't feel comfortable talking about it. It's just been very difficult for me to, with everything I've been through, like sitting here talking about comics seems really trivial, even though I've been reading them as much as I can when I can't drive to the comic book store because of my condition. Can't drive at all, actually. But I thought I'd talk about some comics I've read. And we're going to start with Transformers 9 through 11. And I'm reviewing these because I don't have issues 12 and 13 yet. I've remarked before on this series, which I'm still loving, by the way. It's one of the strongest comics in the market right now. Although, personally, I think the medium, not the market, is in a sad state if the best work that's being done is on Transformers and GI Joe comics. I mean, they have plenty of talented people working on these comics, but at the same time, where's the creator-owned comic, the non-superhero comic that's really engaging people? And I don't see one right now. Like, it seems like Saga is pretty much stalled out. But anyway, I don't really need to discuss that right now. There's also been news that Daniel Warren Johnson will stay on the title as writer for at least through issue 24, but I assume then he's actually, like he said, he's contractually entitled to write the series up through issue 24. Then he's going to depart to focus on his own material, which I can't really blame him for. I mean, he's done such a fantastic job on this title, but he's also a guy. I mean, you should read "Do a Power Bomb" or any of his other stuff. Like the man knows how to be entertaining and not just with Transformers. I do hope. I mean, like I said, "Do a Power Bomb" immediately comes to mind. I know he has another book coming out with the Image from Riley Rossmo, and they also are going to republish one of his graphic novels at Image soon. But I can't exactly mourn his departure because, I mean, I consider myself lucky that he stayed on as long as he did. Now, as for who I'd like to continue on the title, I mean, the obvious answer is the obvious answer. I've been a fan of Transformers since the beginning, so just put Simon Furman on the book. And having said that, does Simon Furman put asses in seats? I don't know. I would like to see Jorge Corona continuing on this title for as long as possible because I think, based on these issues, I think he's doing a fantastic job with the style that Daniel Johnson established in the early issues. It's almost crazy manga-like style, but it's also inspired by just straight-up action comics. And again, like, I don't believe, I knowing Robert Kirkman, he probably has a plan in place already for it's going to take it over. And I doubt they'll call Simon Furman. I mean, the man's written enough Transformers comics as it is. And while I always enjoy when he's writing Transformers comics, I mean, Transformers 84 was a pretty excellent series if you read that. Although it does get a little, it is, I mean, it was an excellent series and Guido Guidi drew it fantastically, but, it was an excellent series for the Transformers fan. At this point, Furman's work might turn out to be too inside baseball for the average comic reader, which, again, is fine. But again, I'm here to talk about these. Now, I have remarked before that I consider this basically the ultimate version of the cartoon show, and there's nothing in these issues that dissuade me from that. So There's only one issue I really want to go at length about, so I'll talk about issue 9. And issue 9 sets up what is the quote unquote ultimate version of one of the best episodes of the early Transformers run, which is the Ultimate Doom, which was a 3-part episode about Cybertron being pulled into Earth's orbit. Since Megatron, well, we know where Megatron, since Megatron's not around, it's Shockwave that's doing it. But this story also brings in Ileta 1 to Earth. It puts Cliffjumper in and it kills off another character. It seems it puts Cliffjumper and Jazz in a pretty precarious position. And again, very solid. Look at this. Look at what Corona does. Like Jorge Corona, sometimes I think he might be actually better than than Daniel Warren Johnson, because I just the grit and the detail he puts in these. I don't think he's good as drawing humans as Johnson is, but there's this hilarious bit where Astro Train kidnaps Spike, and someone shows up, and that someone turns out to be Beachcomber. Now, one of the really great episodes of the cartoon show, and I mean great in a relative sense, because it was, in many ways, there were talented people working on the Transformers cartoon. I will not deny that. But a lot of it was not that deep. I don't want to say the word hackwork because that's just a shitty thing to say. But there was an episode in particular that dealt with the character Beachcomber, who is a robot that turns into a dune buggy. And I also should note that the Corona is going off Beachcomber's cartoon design and not the actual toy design where he doesn't have a mouth. These are the things that keep me out of the dating scene, you know. So in this storyline, Beachcomber finds a secret place, like a secret, but it's also energon rich. It's like a little, he calls it paradise. It's a little jungle area that's hidden deep. And of course, he discovered it. Eventually, the Autobots and Decepticons discover it. And the episode climaxes with the Autobots and Decepticons tearing each other apart over, trying to kick the Decepticons out of there before they mine it for the energon. And they succeed, and the Decepticons are driven away, but the place is destroyed. And which I thought, like, when I was a kid, when I was like 7 or 8, the episode climax ends with a close-up on Beachcomber's face as he just sits among this completely burned out place and says, "We won," in the most defeated tone imaginable. And I thought that was profound. I was also 7. And they do something interesting with Beachcomber. They kind of take a page from More Than Meets the Eye and has Beachcomber he gets kicked out of the Ark while they're in Earth orbit and basically lands by himself on the moon for 4 million years. And sits there. And there was a similar storyline in Transformers More Than Meets the Eye about a character that also was knocked out for millions, and this was a new character. It was also knocked out for millions and millions of years, and during that time he missed the entire Autobot Decepticon war. He had no idea what was going on. This is different. This is Beachcomber is fully cognizant of where and what he's doing. He just can't leave the moon. And then he finds a way to leave the moon, which is pretty amusing. And then he gets to Earth, and he says, "Wow!" And there's this whole page, really, really well done page of him just exploring Earth, and he finds the Ark, and we don't know when he finds the Ark, which is interesting, because he might have. There's a sense he might have left the Ark dormant for 50 years. Again, I don't want to give away how he actually gets back to Earth, because it's pretty funny. Because it's pretty funny. I don't really know how he got away with it, but it's a pretty funny idea. So he doesn't turn it on because in fact, Spike asks him why, and he says, "I knew that even with all our good intentions, the Autobots weren't meant for Earth. Eventually, we'd end up ruining it. I knew war would start again somehow because of us, but this way they could sleep forever. There could be peace forever." And it kind of just drives home how war-beaten and war-weary these characters are, and yet it is their responsibility to. I mean, there's a great scene. Well, not great scene, but it's a scene that sticks out in the first couple episodes of the original show, where they say, "Why don't we just leave? Like, this isn't our home." And Optimus Prime says, because he's Optimus Prime, he says, "We owe it to these humans to protect them from the Decepticons." But this is, I think, also very good at what this is. I just thought it was such a wonderful characterization on Johnson's part. And also think the way he characterizes Shockwave is actually very, like, he's a lot worse than Megatron, because like he can't, unlike Beachcomber, he can't be surprised by anything or anyone. The beauty of Earth doesn't mean anything to him. He sees everything as a means to an end, a way to charge what is, like being shown whatever. Everything is just a fuel source to him. There's some other great bits like, the burned out character we've been seeing on Cybertron and brought to Earth in the first couple issues is Ultra Magnus, and there's another scene where a character's informed, Wheeljack is informed that another character's died, and he's just angry. He's angry at Optimus. He's angry at everyone, and Prime's like, "Well, we've got to do this. We've got to do that." What's funny is there's a scene where Alita 1 says, and this was true of again, taken from the original cartoon, Cybertron is a dump. Decepticons run the place. Alita 1 says, "Our people are starving and enslaved," and she says to Optimus Prime, "Here you are in your new paradise," which is pretty funny, because it hasn't really been a paradise for them thanks to the Decepticons. And then we get the beginning of the Ultimate Doom. And let's go to issue 11. And again, I don't know how Johnson plans to resolve any of this, because this is some crazy shit. Having a Cybertron in Earth's orbit is not exactly healthy. We see conflicts between Arcee and Ilita 1, of all people. We see Carly coming back. She's kind of been in the background the first couple issues. And she's upset that Cliffjumper's in trouble. And Ultra Magnus is back online, just barely. We got the Combaticons. said combatimons. Ugh. Um, Sorry, half the fun is the mispronunciations, you know? I just love it. Like, thing is, am I enjoying this series because it's good or is it because it's evoking nostalgia in me? And I can't really tell the difference at this point because he's trying so he's homaging the original cartoon so much. And I watched that back to front. I could not stop watching it when I was a kid. I watched the reruns hundreds of times. You won't I can't I still remember what it was like going to see the movie in 1986. But Johnson as a writer is also putting in a little depth here, you know, like Alita 1 is just angry. RC is just angry. Um, and the Optimus Prime cannot figure out how to keep it, give everyone hope, giving everyone and like RC and Carly, you know, she feels useless. She doesn't know what to do. Um, you know, and RC refuses to take her with her because you know, she made a promise that she doesn't want, she would knew Cliff Jumper would, you know, not forgive her if she got hurt. And then there's Beachcomber, who is um, just trying to survive with with Spike. And there's a line: "I know how you feel, Butch Beachcomber. It feels wrong to fight, but I don't think I have to. I just know I can't run away." Right here. Again, it's decent, thoughtful stuff. And I should also note that like Shockwave is actually absorbing energy from the ocean somehow, using ocean life. It's kind of wild. And then we finally, at the end of the episode, get the end of the issue. Excuse me. Get the the Autobots and Shockwave Decepticons confronting each other, and because Daniel Warren Johnson has read uh, he's read the Dreamwave series, we get the obvious villain, Devastator, and and there's a surprise reveal with Magnus and what Shockwave has actually done with them. And then we're done for the issue. You know, and again, like Johnson is fantastic at these character moments and also raising the stakes. And again, you can read that in his regular books. What is going to be interesting is like he's basically by taking on Ultimate Doom, he's kind of set up like 5 issues with the material that he's got to resolve in one, which I'm a little concerned about. But on the other hand, it was a fun issue. I am just really enjoying this book. I just wish a lot of other books on the market. I mean, last year my favorite book was Ultimate Invasion, which, and the year before that, I mean, and one of my other favorite books this year is an Aliens tie-in that was conceived by, of all people, the Paul Reiser. And it is weird. It's happened before, but it's a weird state we're in when some of these titles are more. Some of the titles that are licensed properties have more care put into them than the titles that, you know, aren't meant to just be IPs exploited for profit. But that's where we are right now. That's good. Is it good? Is it bad? I just know it's okay to enjoy the comic. Anyway, this is the beginning Like and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I will be back very soon. Not just with some reviews, but something that's been brewing for quite a while, but we'll get to that later.